Hello, everyone, and thank you, of course, for joining us for our Domestic Supply Chain Summit today. And I'm very excited because we have with us here Sankalp Arora, co founder and CEO of GatherAI. And we're actually going to be discussing warehouse logistics and AI as well, and the trends there. And specifically, we'll start to uncover how some of these trends can help with warehouse inclusivity as well. But I want to start off, of course, with a nice introduction. Sankalp, can you tell us about your work that you're doing at Gather as well?
Oh yeah, thanks, Chris. Will do. I'm Sankalp, as I said, co-founder CEO here at Gather. We automate inventory monitoring and asset tracking in warehouses using cameras. And I think cameras are changing supply chain visibility how barcodes did in the 80s, and we get to be on the forefront of it. Right now, our cameras are on a bunch of flying drones, taking inventory 15 times faster than people, providing real-time visibility. And there is more coming down the line.
I think it's a really inventive way of getting a lot of that data. I think it takes a lot of work for an individual to get. But I want to take a step back and just kind of see where the warehouse industry is right now in terms of overall warehouse productivity. How do you see AI powered inventory management impacting overall accuracy and efficiency?
Right. I think looking at the broader picture, e-com percentage in logistics keeps increasing and direct to consumer keeps increasing. With that increase, there is increased pressure in your inventory accuracy because there's a pair of jeans that needs to be shipped to you or I instead of 5,000 pairs of jeans to Walmart. And if we don't get our pair of jeans within the next 2 days, the company loses a customer. So with the increase of pressure on inventory accuracy, rising wages and difficulty in hiring in warehouses, people are just struggling to get the facility throughput with accurate shipments. As a result, losing orders. This is where having a higher rate of taking inventory and automating it in makes it way more powerful, where you can go from 99.2% inventory accuracy to 99.99% inventory accuracy and stand out because you can satisfy more customers.
Well, I want to I want to focus a little bit on the workforce aspect because I think that is huge, and our wonderful audience is a nice combination of, I mean, trucking industry, investors, those within more of the warehousing side as well. But I want to maybe break down a little bit of those staffing issues that you touched on because you're right, they are becoming more and more of an issue and more common, especially like you said, after COVID, we saw this extreme bounce of I need my shipment. I want it now. It's something that what they call the Amazon effect, right? We want everything in 2 days or less. But at the same time, that puts pressure on the human workforce as well. So, can you describe some of the problems that occur for individuals within these warehouses that they're trying to achieve that efficiency but can't, and how AI is actually working day to day to make that easier?
Right. Going at the industry level, there's still more than 70% attrition rate in these jobs, right? And because the jobs on warehouse floors are just hard, it's repetitive tasks. You're walking 10 to 15 miles a day on this hard concrete floor. I, I take an example of specific how we with AI are impacting it because I'm closest to it. Uh, Typically, for inventory taking, either people climb heights on trucks, on forklifts or order pickers to take inventory and manually move boxes and count them. And that process not just ends up being slow, it's risky because people have to go 30, 40, 50 feet high, depending on how high your warehouse is. And they have to do this continuously day in and day out. Now, with our AI and our computer vision, people can just press a button on the drone and it goes around, takes inventory. But not just that, if you ever want to review how your warehouse is looking like, where do you need to correct your inventory? You just need to go on a desktop. So your job of walking 10 to 15 miles a day, of going up and down on lifts and putting yourself at risk goes away to just being a press of a button. And I think that's what AI and robotics is supposed to do.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, I won't lie. When I go to the grocery store and I see something I need at the top shelf, I'm like, nope, I'm just not buying that. So I can't imagine what it's like for individuals who are just trying to make a decent living, right? Like these jobs are paid pretty well, right? So, but you're right. There is a lot of work that goes behind that, and that day in day out, the walking, all of that has a big toll on the body. And I think you're right. That's why we see so many people coming in and out from those jobs and maybe just not making the cut right at the end of the day because the technology is not fully supporting them. So it might be a actual physical issue, but another part of this too, when we talk about inclusivity is also kind of like this educational aspect, right? And so what's interesting is we can add technology, but I'm interested from your standpoint, building this type of tech. Like, how do you prioritize a positive user experience or a UI with the AI solutions you're building, so that right we're not only having to like not worry about having to like hire college level students for just some of these jobs. We can hire people who just have even a basic high school education and can still, work and compete for those jobs as well.
Oh, that's such a good question because it's sort of the core tenet at Gather to make we call our robots cobots because they work with people, and people are central to the workflow just because what we like to say is we make humans superhumans, where they used to be able to count, let's say, 60 pallets per hour. Now they can do 900, just one person. But the way the mandate is, if a person keep the experience so simple and intuitive, that if a person knows how to operate a touch phone, they can operate our system. And we just had a recent example of it, which to me as an inventor of the technology is so satisfying. Is we just made the system simple and intuitive to use, and intuitive enough that it turns out that in partnership with Bosma, that now even visually impaired people are able to use our system and actually hold counting jobs, which was never possible before. We didn't make the solution with visually impaired people in mind. It just turns out good, simple design and intuitive design can cross those barriers. S- So that has been really a joy for us in validation of simplicity of design and the effectiveness of.
Yeah, this conversation really does hit home for me because, well, he is now retired. My father, he used to work for the state, and he had a accounting job for management, and it did get to a point where while he loved the job and knew how to do the job, right? Like he just the counting aspect quite literally became an issue, and again, to just have to say no to a loyal employee who's there and wants to be there is sad to see, especially in an industry that sees such incredible turnover. Why you don't want to lose those individuals that want to be there. They just might not have uh like you said, the perfect visuals to get the job done. Interested, like you said, as you're building this, how do you what unique features goes into that? Like how do you build something for a visually impaired individual, and how does that work at the end of the day?
So I think, like I shared, we didn't design it for it. It just happened that I think we just made the system where a super busy person in the warehouse or outside of the warehouse can use the system, which means the actions in front of you are intuitive. The buttons are large enough, the actions are simple enough. Everything that you're supposed to interact with it is in front of you, while making sure that each of those elements are compatible with the accessibility features which modern devices come with. So if you take inclusivity in mind by just making your system compatible with accessibility features and designing it such that a person with only 5% of their attention span can use it, you can usually make a user interface that is turns out effective enough that can cross barriers.
I love that. Well, they say it's KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? Like, It's crazy how that works across so many, different, components in life, and this one I think is a huge one, and it gets me excited for the future as well, and if there's let's say there's warehouse managers watching today or companies that have a number of warehouses, distribution centers, and are thinking, "Okay, he's got me. Yes, this is something that, we need to start considering and we need to start implementing technology or leveraging AI, right? To make our lives easier, not just in how this warehouse is operated, but just even how our hiring process is. What advice would you give leaders when it comes to looking at AI tools and making that investment as someone who's built AI tools? Any advice that you would give them to work towards kind of the accessibility that you've been able to build?
Uh, it's maybe wrong thing for me to say, but I'll say it anyways.
Do it.
Is
FreightWaves who love hot opinions,
just don't look at the AI tools. AI tools don't matter. Look at the burning problems you want to solve in your organization. And
Interesting.
if there is a tool out there that can help you solve your problem, maybe a problem that you'd accepted is as a hard fact of life, but now is not a hard fact of life anymore because of technology progressing. Just look at all the problems you want to solve that will change your life and then see if there's a tool out there that can help you out. So if I think inventory, it happens in a lot of cases. People have accepted the only way to get high accurate inventory is to drive SOP adherence and to hire a lot of counters. And now it turns out that's not really necessary. You can just hire an AI solution like us and it will be plug and play and you can make it work. The other thing I want to point out is if you know the problem to solve, most of the modern AI stack does not require massive capex. So the barrier to entry is lower because the technology has progressed. So if there is a solution that is requesting you to make a big leap of faith in terms of doing a big capex, I'm pretty sure you can solve the same problem in an OpEx fashion as well.
You heard that, business leaders. CFOs out there listening, you heard it right here, right? I love that. Well, I'd love to hear about, I mean, clearly we talked a little bit about the partnerships that you've already built and of course, the wonderful tools and accessibility in particular that you're helping with at Gather AI. Where do you see, especially the drone aspect is like so smart and so intuitive, but where do you see Gather AI going from here? What other problems are you looking to solve for the warehousing space, or what's out there on the horizon that AI can help challenge against when it comes to the warehousing space?
So I think one of the things that AI does is as long as you have your information digital, you can optimize your operations. But if there is problem in your digitized information, which is often the case with WMS being inaccurate, then the inference of AI will be bad, which is where we come in, where we are able to digitize your information at a press of a button, not with people having barcode scanners. But if you think the problem is big in room temperature warehouses, it's even bigger in cold storage and freezer because those conditions are even harder to work in. And manually doing counts there is just so painful. And you just recently released uh, our product, and I think it's a world's first, where people can now count automatically in freezers in cold storage. And as a result of it, no one has to stand in minus 20 F and then basically move up and down on a lift and count things 15 minutes at a time. Uh, so that is already been there. It's out in the market. We've launched with a few customers, and what's coming on the roadmap is these cameras are going to be at more places. Right now, our cameras are only on drones, but exactly on what places, uh, we'll all discover it together in Q1.
Love it. Computer vision, right? It's a whole
Yes.
new field. And you know what? This is what you actually have to make for me. I'm in Michigan and we get that weather and I can't shovel in that. So if you can get the drone to shovel for me too, then you have call me a customer. I'm in. I'm there for it. I love it. If people listening today want to learn more about the work that you're doing or just see what customers are experiencing from your support as well. Where's the best place for them to go?
Oh, I think we have a decent presence on LinkedIn. You can just look up Gather AI on LinkedIn. In fact, on LinkedIn, CEO of Geodis just recently posted about us, which is a big deal
Nice.
for us.
Yeah, for
Uh,
real.
and obviously, we have a YouTube channel where we share what all of our customers talk about us, and our website, which is gather.ai.
Love this. For our audience, hopefully you took from this a really wonderful future, not just for the efficiencies of warehouses in particular, but for the individuals working there. We always talk about human labor and how we need to, of course, lift them up with this technology as well. And I think this chat has done a wonderful job of explaining that too. So, Sankalp, thank you so much for joining us and educating us today on the space.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Love it. Back to everyone at the Domestic Supply Chain Summit.